Hey everyone. So, I wanted to talk about a few things today because I had the opportunity to do some tarot readings last few days. And when I do a lot all in one time frame or period of time, uh, there tends to be a theme that emerges, and I look at it as a message for the collective at large. And with this one, it was really focused on everyone trying to figure out what we want. And it's interesting how that can be like, well, what do you want? Oh, I want a cheeseburger one day. Well, no, not like that, but truly taking this time because we're in a unique place in history right now where this is like a great pause where there's so much like bubbling up and so much happening, but we are still kind of at a standstill because everybody's trying to figure out what they want to create or what they want to happen next. And of course, everybody's going to have their own unique opinions and ideas of what that is. But ultimately, on an individualistic scale, if we're really going in deeper and focusing internally, we should take this opportunity to really reflect on what we want our life's achievements to move towards. And I mean, maybe achievements isn't the right word. Maybe it's just imagining, if you have the opportunity to plan, to really imagine what you can do. What is that going to be? What is that going to look like? So right now, I mean, everybody is kind of facing the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. So some people are stuck at home. Some people aren't able to stop working. Some people are essential workers and they still have to go. And I know where I'm at, the state's trying to open up again and trying to give more opportunities for people to go back to work. And it may be premature. Who knows? I mean, yes, cases seem to be rising, so we all have to be careful in our own way. But nonetheless, with all that going on, I mean, there's a lot to think about. There are a lot of variables and a lot of things to consider. And especially now with the Black Lives Matter movement taking hold, there's also a bunch of different opinions on what transformation and reform we would like to see happen. And again, all of these things it's like the universe is compounding all these things together to really force us to look at and face the things that we don't like. Because when you're facing those issues, when you're facing things like, I definitely don't like this, or I definitely don't want that, it allows you to put it more in perspective of what you do want by understanding what you don't want. And so we all have to kind of take that upon ourselves to really evaluate what it means for us on an individualistic scale. And that was the biggest theme I kept seeing with reading after reading that I was doing the last 2 days. And, of course, we're all going to have our own personal things going on, and it's going to be subjective. But ultimately, I don't see that as a bad thing to really consider, no matter where you find yourself. Take a moment to pause. Don't force yourself to keep going. And the other thing is, when we're considering what we want for ourselves, we so often are not only just considering what we want, we're trying to accommodate others around us, of course. And what we're deciding on, we're putting other people's opinions or what we want to do for them in mind. So a lot of times it makes decision making challenging because at some level, you don't want to come off as the bad guy or that you did something wrong and ended up hurting someone else. And really and truly, if you're following what feels right to you, if you're following what your gut is telling you, what your emotional guidance system is trying to tell you, that's your compass. That is trying to navigate you and steer you towards your life's purpose, your path, and what you're meant to do. What wonderful things you're meant to achieve for yourself. But you have to learn how to listen to that and learn how to trust that again. Because we often doubt that because they're like, well, if I do this, it might hurt this person, or it might make them upset at me in some way. We have to really reflect and trust ourselves enough to know that, like, we can't control the way other people look at us. Ultimately, if every single individual on the planet were to follow what is true to them, I don't think anybody would find themselves knocking heads. But it's because we are in a state in the world we live in where trusting ourselves is hard to do. We are not taught how to understand what we're feeling. Not on a, like, it's not taught in grade school, that's for sure. It's like, you be nice and you share. Okay, yes. Now, as adults, you have to realize, like, wait a minute, things aren't so simple. Things are more complex. And our emotions are complex. We are complex beings. We're not meant to just fit into cookie cutter shapes. So we have to find what our emotions are telling us that feels right. And sometimes that's breaking out of the mold. We're breaking out of cycles that have existed or systems that have existed for longer than we've been alive. And we have to trust that if we're going to take that step outside of the mold, that's going to be a step towards growth and expansion, and that we're not holding ourselves back because we're trying to stay the same or trying to fit a mold that doesn't truly accommodate what we're meant to do. So there's a lot to consider right now, and I just wanted to send you off with this message of really taking this moment in time to be able to really think about what you want for yourself, what feels right, and not being concerned about what you think would be right according to others, but what is right by you. And trusting that if you follow that, the universe will provide you with everything you need in order to achieve your goals and get you on that path towards your purpose. And ultimately, someone had mentioned, it's like, oh, is that your destiny? And I'm like, no, we still have free will. We have the choice to make whatever we want happen. But ultimately, the purpose of that all is to learn what we want. The purpose is to find what feels good, to trust yourselves and to follow what your gut's telling you. That is your purpose. To exist and to create and to manifest new things that have yet to happen before. We exist in this unique time-space reality to be able to do that. That is our purpose. Doesn't matter what's to come. Some things just, this seems like it's meant to be. Well, that means you're following the right path. Doesn't mean it was necessarily predetermined, but it is in the path of growth. And it is the path you are meant to follow that allows you to grow. So I hope this leaves you with things to consider and to think about. And if you have any questions for me, feel free, leave comments down below or reach out to me. You can find me on social media at Laura Hypnosis. And I also have a wonderful podcast that I co-host with Jada Jones. It's called Vivid Vibes Podcast. And you can find that on YouTube, on a bunch of other platforms that you'd like to listen to, wherever you like to listen to podcasts. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to my little rant today. It's just something that I needed to share, that theme, because it's very prominent right now. We're in a unique time. We have to hear these things. All right, and so thanks for watching again. Have a good one. Bye.